Morgan Elsbeth gives in to her hate. Barriss finds a new path. The way out of the darkness is revealed, and more as the Sky Guys are back to recap Tales of the Empire.
All right, we are back here on the Sky Guys podcast, coming back to you after our special Star Wars Day episode. We're recording on Revenge of the Sith today, fittingly, to talk about Tales of the Empire, the 6 new shorts, the sequel series of Tales of the Jedi dropped on Star Wars Day. We're back to break them all down. One of your hosts, Mike Phillips. With me, as always, the man's voice here in the narration every single week. Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
Doing well. Really enjoyed Tales of the Empire, so I'm curious to see what you guys think, but glad to be back as always.
Yep. Also here with us today, the Grand Inquisitor of this podcast, Nick Fraietta, is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing great. Very excited to discuss Tales of the Empire. More Star Wars content for us to go through, and that's always a good thing.
It is always a good thing here. And Pete, people want to subscribe us on the podcast. They can do so Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys, your favorite podcast platform. Final episodes there. And we are out of Bad Batch season, but we are closing in on the Acolyte. So make sure you subscribe. We got some fun stuff coming up.
Bunch of stuff in the pipeline, as Mike mentioned. You want to be subscribed to make sure you catch all of that content. It's completely free. Go hit that subscribe button.
Yep. And Nick, people want to follow us on social media. How can they do that?
You can follow at Sky Guys Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok.
Yep. You can also follow us on social media. Follow us on YouTube. Mike Phillips on YouTube. The video version of the podcast is up on the YouTube. We get all our fun graphics and props here as well. So I'm trying to. I have a relevant minifigure here right now, but I will say though, I think Lego Darth is around here somewhere. He would have been probably the one I pulled.
Not Omega. She's finally gone.
Well, she'll be back next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a little bit of Star Wars news here, Nick. What you got for us this week?
Star Wars Hunters, the mobile game. I actually think it's also on the Switch, but it released. It does release on June 4th. Didn't come out yet.
Acolyte Day.
What'd you say?
On Acolyte Day.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I think it's for mobile and Switch.
Yep.
I've seen other mobile games that come out on Switch. Kind of cool. You can play a mobile game on your TV with the Switch docked. But yeah, that game's coming out. It's a squad-based, like a shooter
Okay.
game. We get some rumors that the Skeleton Crew is going to release in December, according to Collider. We'll see. I'm not sure if this means it'll be one release for all the episodes or weekly releases, as we've seen. We will see once this is confirmed, but as of now, just expect December.
Yeah, I read the article. They talked to John Wise. They said around the Christmas season, so they took that as December.
Yeah, we'll see. It seems like we're narrowing it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Number 3, The Phantom Menace re-released for. I'm not sure. Is it just the weekend, or is it still out if I wanted to go see it now?
Just the weekend.
Just the weekend. It earned $8 million in the box office, which is number 2 in the U.S. Hilarious how this movie. Excuse me, I hit the mic. But it's funny how this movie's still making a ton of money. It made so much money when it first came out 25 years ago, and it's still making a ton of money. It was number 2 in the U.S. and made $15 million worldwide.
I contributed to that fun, P. I did go see the Phantom Menace last weekend. It was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a great time. Really cool that they're re-releasing it, and then I'm assuming they're going to do that with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith too when they come up on their 25th anniversary. They
definitely might do after they got 8 million in sales on this weekend, Nick.
Yeah, that's great. How was it in the theater? Like any different than when? Like, is it the Disney Plus version? Like,
it's pretty much a Disney Plus version.
They haven't really made any changes to it, have they?
No, I know they did a 3D re-release. I think about a decade ago they tried that, and like it wasn't that one. It was still the same Disney Plus version where you could see like the 1999 CGI with essentially the battles at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And there was a new Acolyte trailer that dropped over the weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can guess it. I didn't watch it.
Pete, you got to check this out.
I mean, I haven't watched it either, but I will check it out eventually.
Yeah.
The reason I don't watch it is because I have no issue watching the trailer. Of course, I want to watch it. I want to watch it and have time to dissect it and to look into everything. I don't just want to watch it and put it away. I want to get into it, and that's not going to take 2 minutes. It's going to take a half an hour, and that's why I haven't done it.
So when we do the Acolyte preview show, Nick will watch it.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Like I saw bits and pieces. I did not see the full thing, but like we got more dialogue and action basically sort of set up here. And I'll also speak to the extended footage they show at the end of the Phantom Menace. Like it was the teaser trailer, plus we got an extended fight sequence with Carrie-Anne Moss's character and Amanda Stenberg's character, like in some sort of bar. So like that was pretty cool. It was a lot of fight you've never seen in Star Wars.
It sounds great. I'm excited. I think the Acolyte's going to be a very good show. I know it's getting a lot of hate on the internet. I don't feel one way or the other, really. I just want to watch it. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I hope it's good too. And is that it for the news this week?
That's it.
All right, so we are back here now with Tales of the Empire here, the sequel series here to Tales of the Jedi. We got 3 episodes on Morgan Elsbeth, 3 episodes on Barriss Offee. Nick, would you say it's about what, like hour 20 combined view time, you think?
Yeah, about that. It was less than an hour. I think it was an hour and a half or less.
Yeah.
Really didn't take long. I watched them in threes. I watched 3, then I took a break, and then watched the other 3. I did it in the same day. They watched 3, waited like an hour and a half or so, and then went back and watched the other 3.
I watched all 6 in one shot, basically. It's not something I usually do. I just binged it.
Well, when they come out like that, it's hard not to, right? I mean, I only did it because I was a little tired. I took a nap, honestly, in the middle.
Yeah, Pete, did you binge them?
I did not. So I watched 3 episodes last night and then 3 episodes today during my lunch break. So it was very spread apart.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could binge them just time wise that I had this weekend, but I mean it's like you said, it's under an hour and a half, so it's possible. It's not that bad.
Yes.
Movie.
Yeah, a little bit. I did like though that unlike last year, they actually grouped the 3 together. So we got all 3 Morgans in a row, then all 3 Barrisses in a row. So the last we got Ahsoka first, and the 3 Dooku's, and the last 2 Ahsokas.
Yeah, that still doesn't sit right with me. I feel like we initially speculated that it could have been chronological.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was, because I still think the first Dooku one was before the Ahsoka one.
Yeah, I think both the Dooku ones were before the Ahsoka one. The first
Right,
2.
so it just doesn't really make. I don't understand why they did it that way. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, so in terms of what we saw here, Pete, what'd you think about the Tales of the Empire?
I liked it. I think I liked it a little bit better than Tales of the Jedi. But overall, the animation, the storytelling, filling in some gaps that we didn't really know was nice. Did we need it? No, but it was still nice to see, and it was entertaining.
Yeah, and Nick, how'd you feel?
I really didn't like it. I thought it was completely unnecessary. I thought the characters they chose couldn't be worse. It left me completely unengaged. But I gotta say, the animation is absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, the animation was fantastic.
It's so unbelievably good. It's like it like look at Clone Wars season 1 and look at this. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it seems like a step up from Bad Batch 3.
Yeah, the animation is it's literally superb.
Yeah, I'll say I'm kind of in the middle of it. Like I enjoyed the Barriss stuff more than the Morgan stuff. It felt like the first episode of the Morgan was great. I think the second 2 kind of blended together to me because in terms of like because we spent almost all our time on Corvus, on Caladan with that situation. It did like either there was a New Republic element, the third one. Like I did sort of like blend together a little bit to me. I do agree with Nick. I do think the characters we chose, I think, may have a hard time connecting to the casual audience in terms of like people. If you really have to have a high barrier of entry to get pulled. Oh, I'm going to see what Barriss Offee is up to, Pete.
I agree. Like Nick mentioned, this is not needed. I think I liked it face value, knowing that this is something very niche. And like you said, the characters for the casual Star Wars fan probably has no clue what the hell's going on. So, at face value for the niche kind of market, I enjoyed it, but I can 100% agree with what you guys are saying as well.
Yeah, Nick, I do feel like their best hope was like you look at the first set and say, hey, is that the lady from Ahsoka and Mandalorian? I think that's the only shot you really had to get the casuals in this.
What are you referring to exactly? Just the character?
Character value.
Like the character of Morgan Elsbeth?
Yeah, I think Morgan's the only shot you have getting casuals in here.
I don't even think so. I don't think most people remember her.
Yeah.
You remember her from Ahsoka, sure. No one probably remembers her from The Mandalorian.
I think for the Ahsoka audience, maybe you pull some of them in if they haven't watched the animation.
And also, I don't think you would know it's her until the last episode of her when they're in her whatever it is, that town, the base, whatever it is,
Yeah, Kaladin.
and you get those same shots that are similar to how they look in the Mandalorian episode when Ahsoka's there.
Yeah.
That's like the only time I think anyone would say, "Oh, that's who it is." Like I can guarantee almost no. Of course, when you talk about Star Wars fans, they know who it is. We're talking about a casual audience fan who, by the way, casual audience can't watch the show because I had to search beyond belief to find it on Disney Plus. Did it
Yeah.
pop up for you?
It was right on the top when I walked in.
Not me. I went on every single one on top and it wasn't there. I went to Star Wars, searched every subcategory, wasn't there. And I said, all right, I know I can just hit search and type in Tales of the Empire if I want to. I don't want to do that. So I saw Tales of the Jedi, clicked on it, and said, oh, maybe they put it as like a season 2, even though it's technically a different show. It wasn't, but it was under suggested under that.
Yeah, because I think I watched the day of recording. By then, they may have had it up on the screen. Maybe somebody at Lucasfilm said, "Hey, what the hell's going on with the promotion here for this?"
Yeah, I
Had
was
something for Cinco de Mayo when I looked.
Yeah, certainly possible here. But let's get into these 2 episodes here. So we'll get into these two series here. So I think we'll kind of just quickly. I'll run through the plot of each episode. We'll sort of go through it, and then we'll sort of discuss like at the end what we thought about it. So start on the Morgan side here. The Path of Fear. The first one. It's the young Morgan Elsbeth episode. We see the Separatist attack on Dathomir. Grievous in all his glory is back. He fights Morgan's mother. He kills her with a. He fighting with 2 lightsabers. He uses a third and basically stabs her through the heart. Morgan runs his left for dead before being rescued by the Mountain Clan. Oh, apparently there's a Mountain Clan on Dathomir. They allow her to stay as long as she wants. She makes friends with one of the chief's daughter. Goes on a hunt with her. They spot more separatist ships. The Mountain Clan is by nature like a pacifist group, and they sort of feel like, okay, like we have a plan. We're not going to get in the way of the droids, and they'll leave us alone. Morgan is obviously traumatized by what happened, and that battle says we have to get ready for a fight. She convinces the daughter and a couple of their friends to go get weapons. They get ambushed. We see the clan leader basically show up, use force powers to mow down all the droids, but the daughter gets killed in the process, and basically Morgan gets kicked out. And then the clan leader says, "I feel sorry for you. I see the path you're going down. It's a bad one." So, Pete, what do you think about this first short we got about Morgan?
I enjoyed the first short. I think the theme is going to be exactly the same as you guys. I mean, not needed stuff, but it was interesting for me for what it was worth. But I enjoyed it.
Nick, how cool is it to see Grievous back?
Oh, it was great. And the first episode here I loved. I thought it was great. I was very excited for what's to come. I was like, this is awesome. Maybe it had to do with the fact that Grievous was there, but I enjoyed the first one a lot.
Yeah, P. I also like with this one, there was this thing that we got another angle of Dathomir where we always seen as, oh, it's like Mother Talzin, it's the Night Sisters, it's Maul's people. Now I see that there's like a more peaceful side up in the mountain. I think that's a cool dimension for Filoni to add to this.
I agree. I think, like Nick had mentioned too, and you look forward to the rest of it. I think I was getting more pieces that I didn't know, and that we were going to expand on that. Right, we were going to have a lot more information that could, make that lore a little bit more saturated with information for us. We'll see. We don't really get that, but it was cool. I think it was a really nice thing that Filoni gave us.
Yep. And Nick, like, did you like the Mountain Clan?
I didn't dislike them.
Yeah.
I'm not a Mountain Clan fan. I'm not going to buy the jersey, but I don't dislike them.
Yeah, you're sure it's not a Fanatics jersey?
No, yeah, I'm definitely not buying season tickets to the Mountain Clan, but they're fine.
Yeah. I think we've seen a version of the story all over the place in like even Star Wars or regular media in terms of like the wise leader knows they're doing, despite the fact that kids think they're like old fogies or whatnot here. And I thought this is a good way to sort of send Morgan down the path she goes on, Pete, in terms of like she's just very like traumatized what happened to her and her clan and says, I can't let this happen to you guys. And like in her attempt to do good, she ends up doing a very bad thing.
Yeah, it was definitely very interesting how they portrayed that and how they wanted to start this off. Again, strong episode. It's the rest of them that start to fall off a little bit.
Yeah, Nick, anything else on this episode? We move on to the next one.
No, nothing else.
All right, we go to the second one here. And by the way, Nick, I did love the title conventions here with Morgan's
Yeah,
episode where they went from the path of fear, the path of anger, the path of hate, basically echoing the Yoda line from Phantom Menace about the way down the dark side.
yeah, they were good. They were very good titles.
Yeah. So the path of anger here, we see Star Destroyers flying over Coruscant. At this point, Morgan is the magistrate of Caladan, which is she ends up being the Mandalorian. She's pitching the building of these TIE interceptors. We know what Thrawn's going to end up doing later on. The Empire refuses to consider this request because they think they're too expensive, but their lead officer promises they'll come to grab the proprietary technology she has to better the Empire here. What's going on? Our friend Captain Pelion, who we met in The Mandalorian, who's Thrawn's number two, takes interest in her for her mind. Morgan goes back to Caladan, the villagers who she basically hoodwinked to saying, like, I'll get you jobs of the Empire if you let me lead. She tells them, basically lets them down easy, that they're not going to hire them. Villagers want to overthrow her for failing to protect their interests, and she's not happy about it. And our pal Rook from Rebels, Thrawn's hitman, shows up to fight Morgan. She basically beats him. Pelion is back, reveals that he sent Rook as a test for Morgan when she passed. Thrawn's just watching on the side like a real creep. He reveals interest in work with Morgan to deal with the rebellion, which he's more concerned with than the rest of the Empire is here. Morgan reveals that she wants the Empire's help for revenge for what happened to her people. They form an alliance. That's episode 2 here. So a little backstory-ish, Pete, with the Thrawn Morgan connection here, but like not a ton else happened here aside from like getting our least favorite Rebel character back.
Yeah, I mean, to me, what was interesting was that, and I don't know if this was knowledge prior to the show, but it was new information to me that she was the one to come up with the technology for the TIE interceptor. That was it, right? Interceptor. Just want to make sure I have the right thing. Which I always found cool. So I thought that was interesting, but then the rest of the episode just kind of falls flat. It's not bad, it's not good, it's interesting, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Nick, what you got seeing the origin of the Morgan and Thrawn alliance?
Pretty cool. I like this episode too. This episode was pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed seeing what's his name, the bounty hunter guy, Rook.
Yep.
It was just a little cameo, cool to see. Had the Pelion, cool to see. I didn't remember where he was from. You said Mandalorian, now it's clicking, but like I was like, where is this guy from? I know him, and that's where it was. And a fine episode, honestly. It's just nothing I think was made poorly. It's not. I said at the beginning I didn't like the show. I didn't like I guess you call it the season.
Yes, the season outside.
We'll say that the show is called Tales, and this is season 2, and it's Empire. But my dislike for it is not to do with how it was made. It's just to do with I don't care.
Yeah, it's like they did not pick an idea that was interesting to you.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So anything else you guys want to add on this episode here?
I'm good.
All right. So last one here, the path of hate, which I'm kind of going to do this the quickest here. We basically fast forward into the post Return of the Jedi era here. Caladan now looks like what we see in the Mandalorian. We have New Republic officers arrive with an ambassador we learn later on is from this planet. People have no idea the Empire has fallen. And the ambassador wants to bring Corvus to the Republic. She goes to Morgan and says, hey, like, the Republic is here. Your time is done. Like, step down. We'll get you a fair trial. Otherwise, like, face the consequences. While this is happening here, Morgan refuses to step down. She gets triggered when the ambassador is not to let the world burn around her. Morgan's forces basically kill all the ambassador's guards. They blow up their ship. They start burning the forest to send a message to people. This is something we saw from Mando season 2. When we get to this planet, we see the forest being burned, and this is something that's happening here. Ambassador tells Wing on her dying breath, and Wing's the guy who ends up taking over for Morgan after Mando and Ahsoka roll through. To be ready to do his part when the time comes. She tries to get in the communicator. The communicator gets destroyed by Morgan right as Bo-Katan answers it. So that's where we leave this situation here with Morgan basically having the world burn around her. So, Pete, what do you think of our final Morgan tale?
It was okay. At face value, I keep saying that because I feel like this is a very niche show, and I feel like this is very Not for the casual fan, unfortunately. But I think it was good. I think it was cool to hear the Bo-Katan answering of the transmission. Other than that, it's kind of like bleeding into Mandalorian. It's just kind of, it just doesn't. I don't know. Something about this episode, I wasn't engaged. Like, you guys had mentioned before about the show in general. Like, I wasn't really engaged, and I just felt like it fell a little bit flat.
Yeah, Nick, to me, the Bo-Katan thing was cool, but I think my problem with like these last two specifically is like it sort of felt like we were in a spot where like we already know where this ends. So like what we got here, I felt like I didn't really need in terms of this particular storyline. Do you feel the same way?
Yep, I do. The only thing about this episode that stuck out to me at all was like, oh, that's the same place from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, or Bo-Katan answering the communicator at the end.
I mean, sure, but I just feel like it was just thrown in there to be thrown in there.
Yeah, it felt like that was just sort of, oh, like we're connecting puzzle pieces here. Like Bo-Katan tells Ahsoka what's going on this planet, and then Ahsoka goes there.
Yep.
I think that's really on the Morgan storyline. So like now we've talked about all three. How do you feel about Morgan's three shorts?
Me?
Sure.
Um, I think the first one was really good, and I was really excited for the rest. And the second one was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but now what? And then I fell flat, and I just get left a sour taste in my mouth. And also like I said from the start, from the second we found out on the trailer, like I don't care about Morgan Elsbeth.
Yeah. Yeah, it just didn't yeah, it didn't grab you enough. Pete, anything on the Morgan storyline before we move on to Barriss?
No, no, I'm good.
All right, so let's go on to Barriss here. She gets the last three shorts here. Obviously, the backstory you need to know if you haven't seen Clone Wars a bit is like she's still in jail after season 5 when she bombs the Jedi Temple to try and get them to stop the war and frames Ahsoka for it. She's in her jail cell when Order 66 attacks. She witnesses it. She's approached by the fourth sister, who apparently her real name is Lynn, and they're friends, and offer to join the Inquisitors in Devoted. This is the fourth episode. Barriss accepts. She's brought to a very early version of Fortress Inquisitorius. She and her friends Dante and Amar are told by the Grand Inquisitor they're being tested. They get sent to like a quarters to wait. Amar sneaks out. Lynn comes back, gets Dante and Barriss. They brought it to the Grand Inquisitor. Reveals they basically tells him they killed Amar for not following orders. The GI trains Barriss. She tells him to attack him while he's unarmed as part of a training exercise. She ends up getting his respect by drawing blood during an attack, which gets his approval. At the end, she and Dante are brought to a room here, basically locked in a force field, one lightsaber, and told, "Hey, we have one job open. You have this. One of you has to kill the other to get the job. If you can't do it, you both die." So they both get into a fight here. Dante gets the upper hand, then Barriss force chokes him and gets the spot in the Inquisitors. At the end, we see Ahsoka. We see the Chrome-ass Inquisitor from Ahsoka. It's Tales of the Jedi last year. Marak, the fourth sister, and Barriss kneel down to Vader when he shows up to just sit in the throne. That's his one appearance in the show. So that's it for Devoted here. But let's start here. Nick, were you happy to see the Barriss storyline get answered after all these years?
Yes, yes, and this was a good episode. This was a really good episode. I enjoyed every piece of it. I thought it was awesome. This is like, oh, this is what I'm excited to see. Now what's going to happen? Similar to Morgan Elsbeth. Honestly, the first episode really drew me in. And the only really thing I have against this one, and this is complete nitpick, I understand that. When he threw the one lightsaber, I feel like he should have just thrown two. And they should have just had a lightsaber battle to determine who was in. I felt like it was like, oh, there's only one. Like, where's the other one? I was just waiting for him to throw another one, and I was kind of annoyed.
Well,
I wanted to see them have a lightsaber battle, not choke each other.
I mean, this is you did go through a whole lesson, Nick, about like, oh, I don't need a lightsaber to beat you. So,
Well, you're battling to see who's in there.
yeah.
I feel like there should be two.
Pete, what did you think about the first one?
To me, this was my favorite episode of the entire 6. This got me very excited for the next 2 episodes to come. I think it was really, really cool to see that, just for me personally, because I think I took Barriss Offee in the Ahsoka draft to see what she did after all of that. She was a pretty important character in the Clone Wars in the sense of there was a lot that went on with her, politically, and also what she did against the Jedi and everything like that. So I was excited to see what was to come with that, and yeah, it got me super pumped for this next two.
Yeah. Plus, Nick, I also want to point out here, is this the first time I've ever seen blood in Star Wars at all?
You see blood in A New Hope when Obi-Wan cuts out the guy's arm in the bar.
Yeah.
And outside of that, I think Luke's bleeding a little bit in Empire Strikes Back when he gets in the fight with the in the snow, but
Very rare.
might be it.
So we might not have had blood in Star Wars since 1980.
I'm sure there's other blood, but like I can't think of it.
Actually, Pete, I was just realized too. I think in episode 2, when the decoy Padme blows up, obviously she's bleeding from the explosion. But I think other than that, not much blood in Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, even with like Revenge of the Sith, when the whole, Obi-Wan, there's really no blood.
There's blood. Now that I think about it, there's blood in the opening scene of Force Awakens on Finn's helmet.
Yeah.
And there was a scene in Boba Fett, I think. Who were the pigs? What are their names again?
Gamorreans.
Yeah, he sliced somebody in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And that the blood came flying out. I don't think there was any blood. I mean, what the fake queen had a bloody nose, right?
Yeah.
But that might have been all the blood in the prequels.
Yeah. All right, so that's going on here. And Pete, were you happy to see our pal Marak show up here, along with that Crow Inquisitor guy we're never gonna know anything about again?
Yes, I was. It was a bit of a tease because, as we find out, I don't think we see him ever again. And question: was that supposed to be the Grand Inquisitor?
Yes.
Okay. I know it's been a while since I've seen Rebels. Was it a different voice actor or a different?
It's the same guy. It was Jason Isaacs.
Oh, I guess I'm just so out of Rebels that it.
Maybe you're just so used to what he looked like in Obi-Wan.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Man, no, no. For some reason, I just thought it was a different tone. I don't know, but anyway. So, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, maybe you thought maybe you're used to the Rupert Friend portrayal in terms of the voice.
No, I thought it was more like, even though it wasn't Thrawn, I felt like the Grand Inquisitor and Rebels had more of a Thrawn-esque voice too. But I maybe I'm just blending the two together. It's been a while since we watched Rebels, so.
All right, so let's go ahead now into the next episode here. And also, real quick, I'll mention really, I think they put all of Vader in the trailer for Tales of the Empire. Like literally that's his only scene in the entire thing is him walking in and sitting on the throne.
Yep. That was annoying.
Yeah. It was annoying. And now we go to the next one, which is realization. Barriss and the Fourth Sister go on a mission to find a Jedi worker rebel cells on a planet that's been completely razed because the Fourth Sister claims they aren't loyal enough to the Empire. We see at this point Barriss sort of feels guilty, says, hey, like, we got, like, why aren't they prospering? It's like, if they help us, they'll prosper. While Fourth Sister is asking these elders, like, what's going on? Where's this Jedi? The elders are lying to them. Barriss spots a kid hiding in the corner, realizes he knows something. He tells her that the Jedi's hiding in the mountains. Fourth Sister gets very pissed about this. She mows down a bunch of the villagers coming out the Jedi's presence. Barriss basically protects the kid who runs to her for comfort. They escort him out of the village because Fourth Sister kills everyone else. They headed to the mountains here, and there's a big philosophical debate about, Barriss says, like, why, we have to be nice to these people. They're not gonna, like, want us to rule them if we're destroying them. While the Fourth Sister says, hey, like, they have to respect us and they know we can slaughter them in an instant. So that debate happens. They find the Jedi in the mountains. He knocks out the Fourth Sister for dueling Barriss. She just decides, I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to try and get your turn self in. He's about to. The Fourth Sister tries to finish him off with basically another like stab to the back with a lightsaber. They have an argument. Barriss turns against the Fourth Sister, knocks her off the mountain, makes her announce to the dark side, save this Jedi. And that's the end of this short here. So, this was intriguing to me, Pete, seeing like there was conflict in Barriss basically from the second she lands on this planet. And this sort of, especially I think what happens in the village when the Fourth Sister slaughters all the villagers basically gets her to flip and turn back to the light side.
Yeah, and this is actually what bothered me the most about this. I was kind of hoping we saw Barriss Offee just go full Inquisitor, and we actually have someone go to the dark side again, like Anakin did. It it just seemed too cookie cutter, very like, oh yeah, this isn't right, so I'm gonna go back, and the whole you have one Jedi left to deal with kind of situation. This disappointed me. I was hoping that we were just getting full blown Inquisitor Barriss Offee for the next 2 episodes, and we don't. So yeah, that's how I thought about it.
Yeah, Nick, one thing I'll mention here back on Pete's point in terms of the context, you have to remember that like at the time, like Barriss didn't think that the Jedi were bad. She just thought that their idea of being in the war was hypocritical. So I could see where she still has like the like I'm trying to do good for people, and maybe she thought the Empire was gonna help her do that. And then she realized, oh no, they're not.
You just can't see it. She tried to blow up the whole council.
Yeah.
Like she tried to commit mass murder. I can't see it, and it annoys me. Like Pete, I completely agree. We don't get. You make a good point, Mike, that we never see the villain turn good and live.
Yes.
And it seems like they always die as soon as they turn good. But why are they always turning good? It's so rare that we find a villain who's just bad.
I mean, Kylo Ren was
So
supposed,
rare.
Kylo was supposed to be until they rewrote 9.
Now that was supposed to be. Vader wasn't. Maul even had signs towards the end of being like not good, but like kind of in agreement, like the common enemy with the Empire. The only one really is Palpatine. That's just like I'm bad. That's it.
Yeah, it's like I want power. That's it.
Yeah, and why we can't get any of that, and I really wanted that, and we didn't get it, and that pissed me off again. So like I'm looking here, we are through 5 episodes on the show, and really only one of them I didn't like.
Was,
But
was this one probably?
no. I was saying episode 3 of Morgan Elsbeth one. But and then this one comes along and I'm like, this one's okay, but like
You don't like the choice.
it's the choice and it's the direction they went with the stories that got me mad more so than the actual execution of the episodes themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to that last one episode. Yeah, the way out, which we have a big time jump here. We see that we're on an ice planet. A family comes with a sick child to find a healer. The healer is Barriss. She's basically turned back of the light. He's been holding up here, helping people out. The Empire went to this kid's planet. They took the blood and they told him that they want to take him away. Barriss tells her life story to them. Realize the kid can wield the Force. And basically tells them, "Oh, this is something with the Empire wants the Force sensitive children." She orders her helpers, take a child to see an old friend with her ship when a threat approaches. The fourth sister is here. She shows up for the kid. They fight. And then Barriss sees that the family's in a cave. Barriss lets her go in and basically tricks her with the Force to basically say, "Oh, you get lost in the cave forever if you are trying to be greedy in here." Family escapes on the ship. Barriss offers to help the fourth sister find her way out. The fourth sister swings around in rage and wounds Barriss, tries to help her find the light. Fourth sister basically decides, I'm going to help Barriss, finds the way out. That's the end of the Barriss tale here. So that we had it not once now, but twice that we had a bad dark side user choose the goodness again.
Yeah, I mean it's again just another bad choice in my opinion. And it wasn't, look, the episode wasn't bad, but I didn't like the choice, and also I just felt like it was like this doesn't mean much, right? It's like, okay, Barriss is dead, cool, and then it ends. Like there's nothing to it. So it was good, I enjoyed it, but not really meaningful.
Nick, what'd you think about what we saw here?
It's just like I'm just sitting there like, come on.
Another
Another one, like this is crazy. Like she was blowing up the Jedi Temple and now she's like a monk? What?
Yeah.
Come on. That's how I felt.
Yeah, so you're very down on the whole like, oh, like I found the light and now I am like a old Force wizard.
Yeah, I'm very against it. And to me, this should have been I'm an absolute badass. I'm gonna try to kill Ahsoka. And that's my whole goal is kill Ahsoka. And this should have been about her finding Ahsoka and trying to kill her.
Instead of what we got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now we sort of wrap this up here. Well, throw us out here. Like Which storyline did you like better, this one or the Morgan storyline?
I actually thought it was going to be Barriss, but after going through it on this podcast, I think it was Morgan.
You think Morgan now?
Yeah. Before we recorded, I was Barriss. Now I'm Morgan.
Pete, what do you think?
So best episode singular is in the Barriss Offee storyline, but if you're talking about storylines, I go with Morgan Elsbeth, as much as I didn't like those episodes individually as much as that one first episode of Barriss Offee's timeline.
Yeah, so basically, like the choice really turns you guys off. Like after five, like when they basically went back on the whole you're an Inquisitor thing right away.
I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, we've been talking about this probably ad nauseum for the years we've been on this podcast. It is almost like we can predict every single time a Star Wars thing comes out what's going to happen. I don't think we've been like completely shocked about how something ended or completely like flabbergasted, like, oh my God, they just did that, right? This is not, the first season of Game of Thrones. This is not anything like that. And I'm not expecting Star Wars to do that, but it's been done so many times in the same timeline. It just enough. Let's have the bad guy win. Let's have everything be in chaos. Let's have someone just go dark and just be evil and continue that line, and that's it. All things we've said in this podcast and before. So it's getting a little overdone now. And it's just like they're just pushing content to push content now.
Yeah, Nick, I think the one thing that's sort of odd about this, I think you're right about this here, is that in a show called Tales of the Empire, we have not one but two A's of the Empire realize that the Empire is wrong at the end of this thing. That's like a very odd choice.
Well, I guess that is the tale of the Empire, though, right?
Well, I mean, there's all Luke Skywalker convincing Vader that the Empire was wrong, and then the Ewoks getting involved. But yeah,
Seems like that is the tale that everyone realizes one day or another that it is wrong. But I mean, I agree. I agree, and I feel like this was just upsetting. Like I feel like there was so much potential. I love Tales of the Jedi, and then Tales of the Empire comes, and we have so much potential on something that could be so great, and they just chose the wrong characters.
yeah. Pete, to me, watching these two stories we got here, this felt like just like information Filoni wanted to put out there in the universe and just officially put it in canon that he was not going to be able to do anywhere else and just chose this vehicle to do it, which I think is like maybe more of this is servicing my bigger storyline and being its own thing, which I don't think is the best way to do this.
I mean, look, I'm not opposed to it. I think when you do that, you create a product that's very, like I've said before, niche, right? This is definitely something that is only for the Star Wars fan that's been keeping up with it. The Star Wars fan that remembers everything they watched in Clone Wars, everything they watched in Rebels, understanding how the plot points connect and why these characters mean something later down the road. So it's 100% Filoni wanting to get more information. I think it is the perfect avenue for it, but the execution was just done in a way that just makes it not as engaging as I wanted to. Now, I enjoyed this more than Tales of the Jedi because I think in my brain I was like, okay, we're getting some evil. It's different, but thinking about it closer, it falls pretty short of what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, Nick, I think this could have been better. Like if we had taken the Morgan story out and like, what if we did a little bit of Thrawn background here?
Thrawn, Tarkin, I guess Kylo, although it would be too hard because you would need to do Luke and Han and Leia and be in that.
Krennic,
Who'd you say?
Krennic from Rogue One.
Krennic? Yeah, I thought you said Fennec, but yeah, Krennic. There's a bunch of options you could have went here, and like even if you decided not to do Empire and you went back to Jedi, like
There's a lot.
I kind of want to see Mace Windu. I feel like he's alive.
Yeah. There's a lot of options on the Jedi front that they could have gone back to as well.
Yep, I feel like this was possibly the worst choice possible.
The worst two choices possible.
Right.
Yeah. Because where they took the Barriss storyline.
Casca Reeves maybe would be worse.
Well, she wasn't in the Empire.
I know, but like just thinking of anyone who could like we could have a story on that could have possibly been worse. Like why not do this on like Shin Hati or Balin Skull?
Like they would have been Tales of the Jedi, but you could have done that.
Yeah, I know. I know I know I'm not supposed to be picking Jedi when we're talking about the Empire here, but why couldn't we have one of them? Why couldn't we have
Moff Gideon.
sure, yeah.
I mean, Nick brings up a great point. This is probably the best thing to do when you introduce a brand new character to something that has no backstory.
They did. Elsbeth. They just picked the wrong one.
Sure, but at least we had Elsbeth in a couple of things before this. Like, pick someone from Mando, like Moff Gideon or Balin Skull, like people that are like brand new. Like, there is the only media is what you've seen in that one show, and that's it. At least Morgan Elsbeth has shown up a couple times.
But
But
she's only really been in Mando and Ahsoka.
Right, but I mean, it's still two pieces of
It's
information.
two,
You
not
have
one.
have a storyline of her. Like, even if you don't have a backstory, at least you have some sort of information on her. Like Balin Skull and Shinhati, there's zero information. They're just there and they're just doing that. So I feel like it's, to your point, a perfect medium to take that and go, hey, listen, we know you have questions. Let's answer a couple of them. Because we're not gonna talk about the past. We're just gonna keep moving forward with them. And we'll do it in animation or whatever. So I mean, I think that's probably the best way they could have done it. Choices were made, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think the idea had potential. I think the thing that hurt the Barriss storyline more, in my opinion, is that not only does Barriss turn good, that we have it basically implied the fourth sister also turned because why she's never seen again after Rebels. So that one was strange. So that to end it with two Inquisitors flipping felt very odd.
I don't know.
All right, here. So let's wrap it up here. We'll do an MVP and LB from each arc here. So we'll go with the Barriss arc. I mean, the Morgan arc first. I'm gonna give it to Morgan because Morgan is just a badass in the entire arc because she really crushes it in that arc here. So Pete, anything? Who's the MVP of the Morgan storyline?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I think it's gonna be very difficult to decipher people other than the main character of the timeline. So I would say Morgan Elsbeth too, because I think everyone else didn't have a great enough part. I mean, I did like Thrawn in it, because I just think Thrawn's a strong character just in general, but I don't think we get enough of him to say he's the MVP. So I'll give it to Morgan as well.
Nick, would you concur?
To me, it's Grievous. He's only in for a minute. He stole the show completely.
Yeah,
That is fair.
agree was a badass when he showed up.
Yeah.
Let's do MVP of the other arc here, the Barriss arc here, and I do think I'll give it I'll give it to Barriss just because as Pete said, like this is a very like you may not agree with the storyline they gave you, but like they execute what she wanted, the choice they made very well. So I'll give them that. Pete.
Um, I'm gonna give it to the Grand Inquisitor. I feel like he was very interesting in that one episode that I really enjoyed, and I think it just showed. I don't know. It just seemed very like conniving and evil, and it just fit his character very well. So I'll give it to the Grand Inquisitor.
Same
Nick,
here.
the GI.
Yep. I think that I lost a lot of faith in him after Kenobi, after the portrayal of him, and I know you're I know you're a good friend of Rupert. Friends,
Yeah, supporter.
you're a supporter. I don't. I'm not saying he's a bad actor at all. I don't. What was it that he's in that you like so much?
He's in Homeland.
Yeah, and it just didn't fit the character for the Grand Inquisitor. They didn't change the way he looked. It just didn't work, and this brought him back. So I'm happy with it.
All right, LVP from the Morgan arc, Pete.
Um, I don't know. The people in the town, I guess.
The Corvus villagers.
Maybe the writer. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't like there's not a lot of people in there to give it the LVP to. But yeah, I'll give it to the villagers because they had a whole town versus one person. They couldn't figure it out. But
Nick.
Sorry, I lost the mute button there. For me, it's the writers of the show. Where you just can't have a show where someone's bad. So it annoys me. Like when you tell me it's Tales of the Empire, and immediately by the beginning of the second episode, she's basically against the Empire in a way, or has a reason to be. I'm just kind of annoyed.
I'm gonna give it to Rook because Rook sucks. I couldn't get enough LT points in Rebels, so we'll give him one here.
He did suck.
Yeah. And like he showed up like with that, he showed up like unannounced. He still managed to get his butt kicked.
Yeah.
All right, LVP of the Barriss arc, Pete.
I mean, I'll give it to the writers, or the showrunner, the choice maker. I just you went from a person who is doing evil things and just making the switch on a dime, just like they do for everything in Star Wars. So I think they need the LVP.
Nick.
Same. Same reason as the other one. We went from blowing up the Jedi Temple to being a monk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna, for sake of variety, I'm gonna go with the fourth sister here, who like she was not very productive in her roles in this episode. With an honorable mention to the Amar, who gets himself killed by just leaving the headquarters. Anything else you guys want to add in before we wrap this up?
If I had to give it a grade, I know we're not doing that, I'd give the whole thing a 4.
Yeah, we're not grading it because I think we've sort of been pretty clear that we're down this compared to Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah, if you want to give a number, go ahead. I'm saying 4. If you don't want to give it, feel free to not.
P, I'll defer to you. If I have a number if you want. If you don't know, a lot of people just let Nick sort of take it.
I mean, I made a statement at the beginning of this podcast saying I liked it better, and I think I meant it as I liked the idea better, not the actual content. So I want to retract and restate that. But I would give it a 5. I don't think it was terrible, but I don't think it was great. So I'll just kind of give it middle of the road.
Yeah, I think I'm with Pete. It's a 5. It's fine. Like it's nothing to write home about. Like if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, like you don't need to watch this and miss anything important. Like you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'd rather this exist than not exist, but that's it.
It's not essential.
Yep.
All right, so that's it for Tales of the Empire. We covered that one here. Next week we're going to be back. We'll sort of close the book on the Bad Batch here. We'll sort of give our final thoughts on the show as a whole, Pete. So now we have some time to marinate on this finale. We'll have some new thoughts here.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to dive into that with you guys.
All right, so that's wrapped up here for this video. Thank you guys for coming on here as always. Pete, people want to follow you on social media. How can they do that?
At Consy29, CONSY29, AP Tyler 308 created this background on Reddit, so make sure you check them out.
Nick, one more time. People want to follow us on social media. How can they do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok.
You can also follow me on social media, mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS331. This week over on Just on the Suffering podcast, we preview the second round of the winter sport playoffs here. Rangers advance. They're playing the Hurricanes right now. They're up 1-0 in the series as we record. Knicks are playing right now as we're recording the game one against the Pacers. We had the same crew back here. Christopher Russo came on to talk about the hockey. Tom Bacchino from Sorry Interrupt podcast came on to talk about the Knicks. And Pete, yeah, big hockey month here.
Yeah, for sure. Gonna make sure my heart health is up to speed because usually when the Rangers are playing, I have a mini heart attack every night. So every night they're on the ice. So we're hoping for round 3 conference finals.
Yep, we'll see what happens there. We'll be back next week with our series review of the Bad Batch. But until then, may the Force be with you.